Welcome to Rockstar Diaries, healing out loud with heart, humor, and harmony. We're so happy to be here. It is a bright, shiny day. We're grateful for our mushroom coffee. Again, this is amazing stuff. It's like less caffeine than normal coffee. With our coconut milk, we stopped doing dairy a while ago, and we feel fabulous. Tons of energy. We're so happy that you're here today. We have the most amazing guest. I tell you what, oh my goodness, they are going to be just in heaven with this lady. So you want to start?
Okay. Misty went from financial CEO to a fabulously feral lifestyle immersed in nature. She specializes in helping people break free of addictions to stories and substance to create the life they deserve.
She runs a private, adult, and alcohol-free wellness space in the woods of Western Arkansas. We have been there. We can attest to the fact that you don't want to miss this place. If you get the chance, go there. She has written dozens of books.
And we mean dozens of books.
And we've been in 2 of them, and, we'll talk about that. And is a multiple #1 international best-selling author and success doula. Her name is Mistilei Wriston, and we are going to welcome her to the show. Woo! Hello, Misty. How are you?
Hello. What a beautiful opening. Thank you.
Oh, well, you deserve the best applause, and it's like walking on when you win an Academy Award. When they introduce you and somebody else edifies you and you're like, wow. Remember Tony Robbins? You're the one who got me into him, when he says walk into a room and just own it like you're on a stage to win the Academy Award. Everywhere you go. I love that, and that's what you do. I was telling the story of how I met you when I walked into that networking event, but I can't remember the guy's name. Ricardo, is that his name?
Ricardo Leon.
Yes, when I walked in, didn't know a soul. I was so nervous. You were standing there, gorgeous, quirky glasses, tall, beautiful, amazing, with this big smile that said, come over here. I'd like to talk to you. And we have been sisters ever since. I just love that story. But what we would like is for you to introduce yourselves. We're going to go off camera for a moment and just take a moment to let them get to know you.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. I love what you said about me, but I will add, I am, as I said, Mistilei Wriston. I run a wellness center in the woods at a place called Campground TBD, and we focus on empowering stories, editing stories that aren't serving us at the highest level, and releasing those stories that aren't serving us at all. And occasionally, like with Ginine and Tracy, we publish those that will serve other people. And I have had a really blessed opportunity to practice that through even some of the most darkest times of my life. I know we'll get into this. My son passed 2 years ago, and through quantum writing, through the wellness space here, through the ability that I know I have to empower stories in my life, I've been able to not only thrive and grow in grief, but able to serve other people who are going through big life moments. And I've dedicated my life to this space now, bringing people together who really want to grow and thrive, even when life is handing them something a little bit bigger than they anticipated. And I'm really blessed for that. And I remember the day that you and I met very well as well. I didn't really want to go to that event. And so when I walked in and saw your smiling face, I came and sat next to you. And what a divine intervention to put us in that same place somewhere far from my home and then build such a beautiful relationship. So I'm glad that meant a lot to you as well.
I love telling people that we were talking, we didn't mention our businesses. We were just getting to, you asked about my story. I asked about your story. We connected on so many levels. Then we sit down for dinner and you get invited up to win this award, for your publishing and for the book at the time. Can you tell us about that book real quick? That was Here Comes the Sun.
Here Comes the Sun. That was my first anthology, which is a collection of a lot of short stories with a lot of different people. And that one was all women. It's back when I had a misfile in my mind that I only worked with women. And we did a really beautiful book about learning to shine, learning to find that sunshine inside ourselves again. And I had 40 women in that. It went international #1 in 10 countries. Really beautiful. I got actually feedback on that book yesterday, and it's been a little over 3 years since we released that. And someone called me yesterday to tell me some beautiful things that they had just come across the book. Someone gave it to them, and they reached out to me. So that book has really been pivotal in my life and changed really everything I've done since then in my publishing.
It's changed me too, because I remember you coming from the stage and sitting down and saying, by the way, Ginine, you're going to be in my next book. I don't know if you remember that, but I'm like, what? And you're like, you have a story that needs to be told, and you're going to be in my next book. And that has changed my life, changed Tracy's life.
Yes.
We're now international best-selling authors.
And we're like, what? How did that happen?
I mean, it's a dream come true.
Yeah.
And you have the charisma and the skills to be able to do that, you know? So that story we just love. And yes. So thank you again for being here. You know, you talk about accessing the life that we want by moving through those emotions that don't serve us. Can you share that moment or a moment when that process shifted for your path forever?
So it began in the early 90s. I had a plan that I was going to be this international industrial engineer, and I was going to fly on the Concorde. I had all these big plans, and then life happened, and I had a child who required 24-hour care, my son Hayden. And I remember rocking him as a little tiny baby, and over thinking, I can't do this. And then it just switched in my mind, and I went into a place of imagination, imagining how we could become a powerful mother and son team, how we could impact lives for the best. And at first I thought my mission was simply to help other mothers who had disabled children. Then, because I was going through leaving a domestic violence situation, I became passionate and opened a campground for women who were leaving domestic violence situations that had a lot of children. And we housed 4 to 5 people, 4 to 5 families at a time on that property. And then over time, as I learned my son, I actually realized the power of the imagination to just, no matter what's happening in my real life, to think how it could become something amazing. And I have a mantra, and that's the best thing that ever happened to me. If I spill my coffee or have a car accident, or even when my son died, I had to practice what I teach and preach and practice here. That became the best thing that happened to me. Even though my mama heart is grieving sometimes, when I got sober, the same thing. I remember thinking, you pointed out alcohol-free campground. I remember when I first got sober thinking, well, I've been sober 30 days and this is pretty boring. I guess I'm going to live a really boring life from now on. And I had to go, oh, catch that misfile and say, how is this the best thing that ever happened to me? And I decided to really become sober out loud and really empower that this becomes something that can serve me and other people. And I do that the first moment now. I've done it for so long. The first moment I feel anything out of sync in my body, I go, okay, that's the best thing that ever happened to me. Whether you say God or universe, nothing's coming my way that's not for me anymore, because I'm not drinking. I'm not taking other influence. And that's been really powerful. So the answer of your question is, it started back in the 90s. And over the last 30 years, I've learned to use it very intentional. And now I don't need to wait for the owie. I can simply wake up in the morning and go, how is today going to be the best thing that ever happened to me? And I have certain writing prompts that I use to make me stay in that same place.
That is so cool.
You're watching the Rockstar Diaries TV show.
Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, my team and I are happy to help. We work across all price points and specialize in helping clients relocate from anywhere in the country. Give me a call, 214-708-2450.
Hey, hello from Texas. Come visit us at Dutch Bros. Yeah. Hi, I'm Amy from Greer Farm. We have 252 acres and we have cabins. We'd love to have you come out and buy some of our grass-fed beef and chicken. Love to see you.
Hi, I'm Ramiro and I'm working in Rio Bravo in Plano, Texas. Come and visit us.
Marcel, where are you going with that disc? You are not putting that on again. Marcel, okay, if you press that button, you are in very, very big trouble. Waiting for a message, it's gonna be alright. It might not be easy, just takes a little time.
You help people release both substance and story addiction. How do those two types of healing, how is it intertwined?
Well, I used to focus simply on the substance abuse. I helped people from alcohol, methamphetamines, tobacco, food, those type of substance, porn, lots of different addictions out there that we can find the item for. But I realized that ultimately, until they found out the story underneath it that was allowing them to want that influence of the alcohol, being under the influence of something, that story, until we got a hold of that one, there was going to continue to be setbacks, or I'm starting over, or I accidentally slipped. And until we empower that story underneath it and get rid of anything that's misfiled, there's a likelihood that it's going to either come back, same addiction, or it's going to just, I addiction surfed. You know, I quit drinking and then I went and did this, and then I went and did that, and then I went and did that, until I got my story correct underneath it and realized I'm in control of my behavior at all times. Yep. Then I realized the power of helping people edit their stories. And I heard people say, well, I would, but I can't because my parents, or because my husband. And that story was giving them permission to have their addictions. So we began to go through and just look at things that have been misfiled and doing it in a fun way. That's the key for me, is keeping it fun. Right. Instead of harping on digging out my generational traumas, I really want to find the story that I love to go to, that I'm empowered in, that makes me smile when I think about it, and use that story to help me whenever an addiction tries to tap on my shoulder. I have such a loud story over here that's like my cheerleader, that this little voice over here going, you know, we could numb this pain. This cheerleader's going, no, this pain is the best thing that ever happened to us. That's our mantra. So if we're feeling a challenge and we know we're in alignment, it's the story. That's the only thing it can be. And it's a beautiful gift. I mean, it's kind of a gift from God, really, whether you use God or universe, it's a gift that we have, that we can empower anything we want in any way we want. So once I determined that, more and more people have found their sobriety in many ways.
That's like the Rockstar ripple effect we described, as like you're helping other people through what you've learned. It's so great.
I love that. Well, so for those who don't know, I Celebrate Recovery, which is a Christ-centered recovery group, is what saved my life. And it started in Washington State. And that's for not just, you had mentioned, all kinds of addictions, or we call them hurt habits and hangups. Women that, you know, were maybe abused when they were younger, or have, you know, grief issues, not just women, men too. And I was a leader, and I became a state rep, actually, and I'm a state rep here in Texas. And one of the things that we would, well, number one, I want to say, I love the greeting when you're having those small groups. We would say, my name's Ginine, and I'm a grateful child of God, right? Because of, it's not, you're establishing your identity right off the bat. And, but what I wanted to ask you about is shame, because you kind of touched on that. That a lot of people feel that their past disqualifies their future, and a lot bring that shame with them. Does quantum writing address that, or can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, so Brendan Burchard is a speaker that has a really cool thing. It's called the zaps. When you zap yourself, and he'll say that when we see a problem, we zoom in it, then we assign a personality to it, then we shame or sabotage ourselves from it. That's the S. P is our punishment. So we zoom in, we assign an identity to it, we punish ourselves, then we give it some shame and some self-sabotage. So that S, that shame, it keeps going. It's shame, and then it's sometimes shrinking, and then it's self-sabotage. So the S just keeps going. So in quantum writing, what I first challenge someone to do is go back to that moment that they're having any form of shame and simply rewrite a story that didn't happen. I am a child of family abuse from my father when I was a small child.
Yep.
And I have rewritten that story, only including every fine moment my father and I had together. And so now he's deceased, but now I have beautiful memories of this person because I rewrote it in a place of strength. I rewrote it that my 7-year-old had the words to say what a 7-year-old didn't know how to say. And I rewrite it to the point till my spirit believes it. It doesn't erase it. It doesn't mean that we let people back into our life that are harmful. It lets me have a safe place to go and have my nervous system feel okay to have that conversation. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, if we have shame, it's simply because we either didn't have the language to stop the situation, we didn't have the knowledge to stop the situation, or we were literally under the influence of something that is not empowering to us. And once we realize that, then we can say, I don't need to feel shame. I've driven under the influence of alcohol. Absolutely, I have. And I haven't, I don't drink anymore. Thank you for 11 years. But in my past, I did that. And I had shame. No one was ever hurt, thankfully, but I had shame about that moment. So now I've rewritten that moment where I just wrote that I didn't take it. I made different choices in that. Again, it doesn't change what happened in a reality. And sometimes people get hung up on that, but that's a story that they're holding on to. So that gave me the time to get my nervous system to say, I was under the influence of something that was not beneficial to me. So Misty didn't actually drive drunk. Misty, under the influence of alcohol, drove drunk. And because I don't allow that influence in my life anymore, I don't need to have shame over that anymore. I made a change. And this weekend, we're actually having an event on the campground for people to write their shameful moments, write them, release them, and burn them. We're going to have a burn event to help people rewrite stories from shame. And so that's a big one. I thank you for bringing that one up. But the best thing is find a place where your nervous system can release that. Then from that empowered space, you can look around in that moment and say, where could I have gone differently? What did I eventually do differently? And was I under the influence of something that isn't serving me? And if so, I need to make sure that doesn't come back in my life. And that way shame doesn't come back in my life.
We went to the Brendan Burchard conference in Austin in March, was it?
Yeah.
Yes, I've been following him. And he does the tap thing, and get up every 55 minutes, which has changed my life as well, because when you're a music producer or, you writing, it's easy to 6 hours go by and you're like, what? Mm-hmm. And so we were so in awe when we left that conference. So Brendan Burchard, I'm glad you brought him up. Do you have a question?
Yes, I got a question. So when someone says, but my story is who I am, what do you say?
So identity, if we assign an identity to an issue, then we have chosen. And so I kind of have a 3 rule. The first time something happens in my world, it's an occurrence. The second time I need to pay extremely close attention. And the third time it's a choice. So the third time I say I can't because my dad or I can't because my ex-husband, I'm choosing that identity. If it empowers you, please run with it. If it doesn't, I treat it like a heroine. I don't allow those things in I tell people I'm sober from those kind of stories. I'm sober from those kind of conversations. And I treat it as a matter of sobriety. So when my identity comes in and says, I also, Ginine, just to come back, when I go to anything, I don't say I'm an alcoholic. I say either I'm an equal opportunity addict. However, I'm a powerful creator and a child of God. Like you said,
I love that.
My identity is not around anything I did before this moment. My identity is how God woke me up today. And so today is my identity to be today. So if someone has an identity and that's empowering them, I love that for them. If it's not empowering them, then I would challenge them, go sober for 30 days, release that identity. Don't use that story. Don't mention it. Every time you think about it, call a sponsor, call your coach, call someone who's accountable, and release that identity and see how it feels for you. And that can be things even, this is an easy one because it's me. I have lost a child. That is not my identity. I was an amazing human before that moment happened in my life. I was blessed to love someone enough that it hurt when they left. And I'm grateful that I experienced that love. But my identity is simply growing. And now I know how to serve even more people. I could look at that identity as a shrinking, zapping myself back to Brendan and saying, well, this is a story I can't because, and that identity doesn't serve me. And once we stay in that lack of identity that's not us, it's so easy to see when something tries to get on me. And I'm like, that is not me. That is something else trying to come into my space. And I release that.
Wow, such golden nuggets. We're just going to pause and take a break. And we'll be right back with Mistilei Wriston. Hi, everyone. It's Ginine Emily Smith. You know, I didn't become an international best-selling author, award-winning songwriter, global speaker and coach, and now a TV show host by scrolling all day. Nope, none of that came by accident. It came from intention, from choosing growth on purpose every single day. Even just 10 minutes a day adds up to over 60 hours a year of leveling up your mindset, your habits, and your life. If you are ready to stop watching others live their dream and start building your own, I'm willing to share one of the most powerful tools that I use, created by the #1 high-performance coach in the world, Brendon Burchard. It's called Growth Day. This isn't about perfection. It's about progress. And your next level is just one intentional decision away. Bring the joy, everyone.
You're watching the Rockstar Diaries TV show.
We are back.
Yes, we are.
Oh my goodness, with Mistilei Wriston. Yay! And, Hearts in Sync, which is our company, we are all about connection and bringing Hearts in Sync around the world. He is the one who came up with the name for our company. Can you talk? You got to pat yourself on the back. Otherwise, who will, right?
Well, when two people are in love, right, their hearts beat the same. They beat in sync. And they also had scientific proof for this and proof for even choirs. Choirs sing together. So I imagine what happened with bands too, or, people who are really connected in what they do together. So, and not only that, it's also brainwaves are connected.
Yes. And that goes along with your book, Align, when you're in alignment, when your brain is in alignment with your heart and passion, right? Mm-hmm. They've done study, like I've seen the graphs and I'm like, what? It's like sparking it on fire. But you are all about that. And I love that about you because we always talk about, like you said, proximity is power, but our inner circle, that the people that you hang out with, we can't choose our family, but we can choose our inner circle, right? Mm-hmm. And you host collaborative events and mastermind weekends, for lack of a better word. Can you share about those and how it ignites transformation?
I would love to.
Yes,
I would absolutely love to. Thank you. So I have a book group that I do on Facebook. It's free. It's based on a Napoleon Hill book called The 16 Laws of Success, or The Laws of Success in 16 Lessons. And even that book was written in 1920. And even he is talking about the importance of when you're falling in love, that there's that harmony and in sync. He's talking about how several times a year you need to come away from the city. And he's talking 100 years ago, come away from the city and unplug and be around people who are focused on a goal similar to yours, even from very different industries and very different thought processes. Yes. So what I do is called What is Working at Wellness in the Woods. And I bring groups of people together, small intimate groups, maybe 10 to 15 people at a time. And we may have a concept of talking about post-incarceration or talking about how to be more excellent in our sobriety or how to grow in grief. But we have this common space that we're going to discuss, even though we may come from very different backgrounds. And because of that, we are in sync. And we, like you said, it's been proven, Tracy, that the more you're in sync with person, the more empowering those thoughts are going to be. And we make headway at such a exponential rate because we're not fluffing through the things that we're not in harmony over. We're here to concentrate on where we do align and where we are in sync. And we call it, conversations around the campfire, magic around the island. When we get together in these groups, I'm very blessed. I get to watch collaborations happen, businesses begin, nonprofits begin, ideas form, books that are going to come out and serve other people. I get to watch really powerful minds come together that are seemingly very different humans. But because we're here for a conversation about something in general, in the same topic, our love for one another helps our hearts beat in sync, even though we're not in romantic relationships. That love of what we're doing and the passion for how we serve, we're able to just really ignite one another to have thoughts that neither one of us have ever had. So it's not that you're teaching me or I'm teaching you. The two of us come together and we have option C as an idea that neither one of us ever thought of before. And it just opens up what I believe that frequency of imagination of new exponential, whether it's an invention, those things where people have come together. I have found that is a very powerful way for us to bring funds into nonprofits. It's a powerful way for us to bring new energy and ideas. And when people think they're kind of like banging their head against the wall, coming to these helps them see there is no wall. We just need to open our mind to new ideas. And through that alphabet soup, you're able to pull one out that's just yours and yours alone. And it serves what your divine purpose is here, just because of that hearts in sync around the campfire or around these weekends together.
I see you and you see me. Oh, sparks are flying. Can't you see it's you and me? Angels fly, fireworks in the sky. You're the one of my dreams. Won't you come sit with me? I never thought I'd love like this again. You pulled me out, up and away. You opened up my grave, my love light shines within. You pulled me out, up and away. You're the soul lit fire under my skin. You're the creme de la creme. You're the creme de la creme. You're for me, oh diddly-dee. Oh, skies are smiling. My A to Z, my honeybee. You're the one till the day I die. Now everybody knows our name and our story. I never thought I'd love like this again. You pulled me out, up and away. You opened up my grave, my love light shines within. You pulled me out, up and away. You're the soul lit fire under my skin. You're the creme de la creme. 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 I found you. Now I believe. Oh, sparks are flying. I never thought I'd love like this again. You pulled me out, up and away. You opened up my grave, my love light shines within. You pulled me out, up and away. You're the soul lit fire under my skin. I never thought I'd love like this again. Pulled me out, up and away. Opened up my grave, my love light shines within. You pulled me out, up and away. You're the soul lit fire under my skin. You're the soul lit fire under my skin. You're the creme de la creme.
music itself, if you go and see like an artist or a concert twice a month, studies have shown that you'll live 9 years longer. Is that crazy or what? Just music itself. So I have a hard question for you.
Oh, okay.
The hard question.
The hard question. Uh-oh.
So
I'm afraid. No, I'm just kidding.
If you had the ability to invite any celebrity guest to come to your event,
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive
Okay.
at your campground, what would be the backing track song you'd be playing?
Oh, well, I have a lifelong song that is my go-to in moments of uncertainty or anything that doesn't feel ideal to me, and it's 10 Years Gone by Led Zeppelin, and it's been there for me since I was a small child, and it will probably always be there. And now I use that with whenever I'm feeling any kind of grief that's discomforting to me, I play that one. So now it's a dedication to my son as well. So for sure, 10 Years Gone, Led
Good
Zeppelin.
choice.
Oh,
Love it.
Oh my gosh, I didn't expect that. Led Zeppelin, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we're huge fans, like, you know. But since you brought up Hayden, because we had an opportunity to meet him when we went down there, and the love, the selfless love. I can't say enough about it. You shined all over it. And we were just in awe, you know, of that unconditional, just selfless love. And now you have some powerful work that you're doing through an organization. And so if you can talk about that for a minute.
Is it Hayden's Ray?
Yeah, haydensray.org. That's our 501c3. And it allows people to come here without having to worry about packing, planning, what they're going to eat. I want to make sure that they're nourished at the highest level, that they have everything they need for a beautiful wellness experience out here. That unconditional love that you saw, and that makes my heart feel very warm. I wrote many times over his lifetime, I wish I had someone else who knew what I knew, that understood all I knew about healing and the power of the imagination, that could go do it, because I didn't have the time because I had Hayden. So when I knew Hayden had a stroke and passed about 30 days later. So in that 30 days, I knew I needed to begin preparing the future me so I didn't lose track of her. And I realized that the unconditional love I had for him must be turned back on me during that time. And so I really had to imagine how I would have cared for him if he was hurting the way that I was hurting after he left. So through my love of him and applying that back to myself, which was a stretch, and it is a stretch for a lot of people, to love themselves as much as they have loved another person or loved another, especially a child. And I was going through some identity questions, like you said earlier, Tracy, about identity, because I'd been the mother of a disabled child for so long, and I had all these requirements every 2 hours for 27 and a half years of taking care of him. And so when that went away, I needed to fill those spaces. It's not enough just to be sober. You've got to fill that void. So I needed to fill that void for him. And I chose to fill it with absolute love for myself, the same way I would have treated him. And it was a definite workout. There were sore muscles involved. And because of that, I was grateful I wrote down everything I went through during those times. And through that, I've been able to see how to really assist others through bigger moments than I ever imagined, because the steps are this frustrates some people. The steps are exactly the same, whether you're getting off heroin, or you've lost a child, or you're going through a divorce, or you've lost a job, or you found yourself in a financial place you don't want to be. The steps are going to be exactly the same. And it's just honesty, authenticity, and staying in touch with who you want to be and all the best parts of you that were before that moment that the thing went ouch, and just not losing track of that.
So can you talk about something like that brought you joy when you were young and how that translates into now?
Yes, I live here. I literally did the same exact exercise. I love that you're doing that. And I will say empty nest is is a huge addiction that can form very quickly. the depression of empty nest, what am I going to do, the loss of identity, and they're all misfiles. So none of them are true. It's a thing that society even will kind of encourage you to feel sorry for yourself during that time. So that's a beautiful space that you're working with these women. So I went back, I did that same exercise. The first thing I did was I bought a kayak because as a child, I loved to play on the rafts at the lake. Then I got hula hoops. Then I got jump ropes. I have trampolines. I have prom dresses from thrift stores. If I want to mow my yard in a fancy princess dress and cowboy boots, I do. And I picked out all those the best memories I could find of my entire life. I enjoyed writing in my diaries as a child. I enjoyed colored paper and colored pens. And so I just brought a little pieces of those back into my life so I could stay in touch with all my best versions of myself. Mm-hmm. When I permitted myself to play and enjoy, just dress up or whatever I wanted to do, then my mind, again, my nervous system started to understand the goal, and I was able to then apply it to, I've also been a successful businesswoman, so I was able to pull some of that back in. I've served a lot of people in a lot of spaces, so I was able to pull that back in. But it all began by saying, let's go back to the beginning. What did I love at 5? What did I love at 6? I have disco tracks from the 70s I want to listen to because I remember how happy I was at 5 or 6 or 7 years old. So just picking up anything that you enjoyed through your entire life and finding that gratitude again kind of tells the universe, tells God, tells your nervous system, this is the space I'm looking for. Absolute radical gratitude is what I'm looking for. And I want to have fun doing it. And then once we get there, our brain knows how to do it. We came with everything we need. We just got to turn that ship around and find that we're looking for joy. We know bad things have happened. We know we don't need to document that. We know that happened. But how often do we reattach with the joy and the fun and the playful and the bliss?
You know, I just like to say, I think it's funny what you mentioned there. And we like to mention, we are out of the closet. we were.
What?
We were not into disco back when disco was famous. We're out of the closet. We're now disco freaks. We saw Casey and the Sunshine Band in concert like last year, and oh man, it was amazing. So,
yes,
but that was fun. I just got to say that. But anyway,
I'm glad you said that because it's true. We're going to an ABBA thing tribute this Friday.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
We love all music now. It's cool. But hey, you call yourself a story doula. I don't even know if I'm even pronouncing that
yes,
right.
Doula.
It's so powerful. What does that mean, and how do you help someone birth a new story for themselves?
I find it's a very vulnerable space. And so that's where doula came in. If you're having a child, you go and you see your doctor or your doula or your midwife, and you call them, especially your first child, you call them every time anything feels like, oh, I had a cramp. Oh, I had this. Is this normal? Is this normal? And I find that just having me on the other end to say that's normal, it allows their nervous system to go, oh, this isn't something I need to be up in arms about. And so they get to stay in that creative space, whether they're creating to sell books, they're creating to make music, they're creating to make content online, or they're creating their next chapter of their life. We have to stay in that place where we want to be creative. Our masculine mind, and this isn't about men or women, but our masculine mind wants to do the checklist and the to-dos and how much money and what's it going to take. But if we only use that, we won't find that bliss and that fun. So we've got to use both sides of our mind. I love that you mentioned Casey and the Sunshine Band. The reason I listened to that is in 4th grade in my talent show, we did a little dance. We did a little line dance, me and some girls in 4th grade. So that's where disco came back in my life, is remembering that space. So just keeping in mind, like you said, if you have something you didn't like, we didn't like disco, bring it back in, because if you ever could have liked it, we want to attach any place we can find joy, find it, as long as it doesn't take you out of alignment. I don't know if I answered your question. I think I was excited about the Casey and the Sunshine.
Isn't that funny? Oh my gosh. When we saw them, he was having health issues, and he said on stage, I weigh more than I ever have. But he was doing all the moves. He still has the same singers and same dancers from years and years ago, and they sound phenomenal. Like I like how you say it, every member of the band is a monster at what they do.
Yeah, they're so good at their instrument. We call them a monster for that good.
Yes, and we were just in awe. And he he made a joke. He said, "You're probably expecting like Harry Styles to be up here." Well, you got me. Like, you're stuck with me. But he was just right there and shared authentically what he's going through. And we're going to take another break here for a moment. You have so many words of wisdom, and I bet our audience, they're probably pausing and writing things down because a lot of the people that we consult and coach do want to publish a book. That is one of their all-time bucket list goals. So when we come back, we will talk some more with
and I'll give them some pointers on how to publish. We'll just do I'll give them some 1, 2, 3s on how to get their book published.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
We'll be right back.
You're watching the Rockstar Diaries TV show.
Her name is Mistilei Wriston, international best-selling author and success doula.
Misty went from financial CEO to a fabulously feral lifestyle immersed in nature. She specializes in helping people break free of addictions to stories and substance to create the life they deserve.
She runs a private, adult, and alcohol-free wellness space in the woods of Western Arkansas. We have been there. We can attest to the fact that you don't want to miss this place. If you get the chance, go there.
See you there.
Cedar Ridge Acres. Soap. Why? 'Cause you smell good.
So, Mistilei, you were able to get me published, become a #1 international best-selling author. A lot of folks that join our community and we consult also, and I've referred some people to you. Can you give some pointers on publishing? Anything you have to say?
I would love to. I spent a lot of money on my first book, and then I found out it's absolutely unnecessary. And so I'll give you a few. Number 1, write first, like no one is reading it. No one will ever read it. Just write everything you want to write. You don't need to be the editor and the formatter. First start as the author. And that's probably the hardest step because we have these stories about perfectionism or the stories about what will they think. So the first version, just write it all. Then sit down and read it and make notes on a separate piece of paper. The second is remember that publishing is actually free. You can self-publish at any time on Amazon for free, but it's easier if you have a doula walking you through what do I need to know? How do I need to move forward? What is this a scary thing or is this not a scary thing? Then you can, after you've read your book, then reach out and well-vetted people. Only spend money with very well-vetted people. Reach out to Ginine, whether you use me or someone else in her circle. Reach out to someone who has done the job and that you can speak to referrals. And then release and allow someone else to edit your work. It's a beautiful, vulnerable place, listening to someone tell you what they think you could do better at, but it's a really great learning tool, and it will help you in so many other places in your life to be able to go through that editing process, whether it's a life coach, a business coach, a voice coach, or an editor for your story. Just being able to sit in that beautiful space with someone you're in sync with that is supporting your ultimate goal, and let that person walk you through to the next step. But be very mindful of any money that you spend in the industry for self-publishing. And I can't recommend kdp.amazon.com enough. That would be the first thing I would want to say. And then secondly, remember that when we write things because we're going through trauma, we want to write it until the point where we are healed. Because if we are still triggered in anything that we're writing about, it's going to not serve our audience the way that we want it to. We can write about very powerful and dark spaces in our life once we've gone through them. But we have a temptation sometimes to write our story. So write that while you're in the darkness, but don't publish it till you're back out through the light. And if you can't get there, reach out to Ginine and let her coach you through that.
Oh, shameless plug.
Yes.
Just kidding.
Well, if our audience doesn't know this by now, you can see why she's so successful at what she does. She's so eloquent in her speech. Man, she could do anything. Is there anything else that you would like to say, like wrapping this up as we head on out into the world and do what
Well, I
we
would
gotta
like to say thank you. I didn't mean to talk over you, Tracy, but I would like to say thank you for having me on. I remember you telling me that you were going to start this, so it's lovely to see it coming to fruition and that I get to be a guest on the show. So thank you for that. And then I want to just challenge anyone. I like to say, I dare you to prove me wrong. There is nothing we cannot write our way out of. Once we write it with enough clarity, we make the edits necessary to where we love the story of our future life. We've done enough edit and character development. We can compare who we are now to who we want to be through that. So whether you're getting sober, losing weight, loss of anything, there's nothing that I haven't been able to write my way through or write my way out of through the quantum writing experience. So if you're ever feeling anything, start writing. Read back what you've written. If it's negative, there's a problem. There's a sign there that you need to flip to the positive. But your writing will tell you a lot. This is the junk drawer, and writing is the organization of thoughts, of success, of support, of anything that we truly desire. And even the Bible tells us we've got to write it down. We have to make it plain so that anyone who sees it knows it's ours. So writing it is even called from 2,000 years ago to the speakers of today. We must write down what we do want in life.
Excellent.
Do you think some of the writers in the Bible, like Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, or David, would be #1 international best-selling authors today?
I think they absolutely could be. I believe that if you're passionate about your work, which I think they were, and you're willing to take some guidance, which I believe they were, then you can make a difference in the world, and especially in the publishing world, in the voice world, in the singing world. If your message is coming from your spirit, from your soul, then that's part of what we're called to do. And, you know, we all got a gift. Every one of us got a gift. So you just got to write until you find it, or sing until you find it.
I just love that.
And there it is.
There it is,
Thank
everybody.
you so much, Misty, for being on the show. We just so enjoyed you.
Yes, very, very much. And we're so grateful. And we see big things to come. Collaboration is the key, and proximity is power. All right.
Well, hopefully I'll see you at the campground someday. Again.
Yes.
You got it.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, I'm reading that book, Let Them by Mel Robbins.
Yeah. Oh, Mel and I are soul sisters. Yes. Let them for sure.
Do you know her?
I just really love her. I don't know her. I just love her theory. Just let them. Like, that is the best book. And a lot of women that I work with have read that and experienced what that feeling. Just, yes, let them. Let them. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. And we cannot control or change somebody else's behavior. We can control how we respond to it. It's like, just in a little excerpt that I listened to on Brandon Burchard's site, she was talking about, like, you go to a dinner, like a family dinner, and there's this one uncle that just goes off on and on and on and on and on about politics, right? And it's like, you just want to ring them and stuff like that. And to make a long story short, she's just like, well, you have two options. You can just go out, leave the room, and just let him do his thing. But the second option I loved. It's like, you go up to him and you say, I love you, and I really want to have you over for dinner, but we don't talk about politics, like, in our house. And so if you could agree to not talk about that, then come over for dinner. If you can't, then I guess we're not having dinner together. And the way she said it, I'm like, Oh, wow. Like that totally changed the narratives because it's like their choice to see what I'm saying, but you've established those boundaries. And I just love that.
I use a sobriety language, and anyone who's stayed here for any length of time, I've said this to them at some point. I'm sober from that. So I'm going to take my tea and help out to the campfire. But if you'd like to talk about anything else, I want to just let me know. I just let them know I'm sober I use that language. I'm sober from that. I'm sober from those type of conversations. Because it's hard for people to argue with my sobriety. Like, so it's my sobriety. So if I say I'm sober from that, it doesn't really matter why you think I should take a drink of it. I'm sober from it. So I'm sober from politics. I'm sober from arguing. I'm sober from yelling.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
that is so cool. I've never heard the word sober used in that format before. That is so cool.
The Bible speaks about being of sober mind, and they're not just talking about from alcohol or anything like that. It's, I mean, true.
That's that loop. Sorry,
no,
but that's that loop back to sobriety and to the language that we're using. It's the story. The Bible's telling us to be in sober thought.
Yes.
If your story is sober. I've even after Hayden passed, I never craved alcohol. I don't. My story is sober, so it doesn't have these split ends looking for this other piece. So because I'm 100% zero tolerance sober, I've been able to expand that, and I use sobriety language for just about everything in my life because I don't take a drink of it. It doesn't matter how much you really want me to. I'm sober from that, and if that bothers you. Like she said, if that bothers you, you're not required to be here, or I'll go have a drink outside at the gazebo. But what we're not going to do is argue about my sobriety for sure. Right. So I'm simply sober from that. So I love that that sober, like you said, the Bible talks about sober thought.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh my goodness. Well. Oh my gosh, Tracy, you are so giddy right now. You look like you're a little kid.
We are backstage right now from our show, Rockstar Diaries, that we are going to interview the Roger Fisher, guitarist from Heart, Barracuda and Crazy. Oh my gosh!
You're so giddy.
I just gotta tell you that we think like he's like a friend already. It's like, and we're not a stalker, you know what I'm saying? But our name is Heart Soul Revival for our band name, and our production company is Hearts in Sync. But
and what are you wearing?
We're not stalkers, and I'm wearing heart. But no, we're not stalkers. Okay. Love the guy.